bit where you like turn the controller around and you shake it, the spring, like, come on, man.
It's a fun film to watch.
Well, no, but just have a younger cast. So, hello, welcome back to Outlaw Film Production Podcast. This is episode 4, hosted by me, Stami, and we've got Sam returning.
Back again.
And I think in this episode we're just gonna talk a little bit about Spiderman. I think mainly
Just sort of Marvel.
Marvel in general. I think we'll focus on Spiderman a bit. But what I want to start with is the new Marvel game, the 43?
Oh yeah, 1943.
So
Captain America.
I
Panther.
don't know anything about this game. I just saw the trailer.
Looks great.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, it does look good.
Because they did you ever play that Captain America game like back in the day where it was like set in World War II? I always wanted to play. It was on PS3.
When did that?
It was on the PS3. Yeah.
I had a PS3 as well.
Yeah. I always wanted to play.
I don't think I was really invested in the whole Marvel thing there because I grew up with this makes me sound like young with like Disney XD and stuff,
right?
And that had like, what was it, Spectacular Spider-Man? Was Spectacular Spider-Man on there?
It was Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man, that's the one. But I watched Spectacular Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
And I was like solely focused on Spider-Man. And obviously in Ultimate Spider-man the Avengers show up.
There's loads of characters.
So that was then what introduced me to that sort of thing. So I think I might have been too late for the.
But that game looks great, and I think
it does.
It's something a bit fresh.
I think it was needed. I think with the whole Marvel games, they need to follow suit with the Spider-Man games.
Definitely.
Go down that single player, like the Avengers game.
I think that's a major reason why the Avengers game kind of flopped.
Yeah.
I mean, in itself, the game was just not that great, but
yeah,
when the Avengers game was not only announced but released, I think a lot of people were expecting it to be like Spider-Man, because I was one of those people.
Yeah.
Did you play it?
I did not. There was no interest for me, because I thought it was going to be similar in a sense to the Spider-Man sort of games.
Yeah.
But the combat was not fun.
It just sucked, because I when I played it, I was like, I can't recall a single moment from that game.
Yeah, and the way they did Spider-Man in that game.
I didn't, because the whole reason I got it was because I was like, oh, we get to play Spider-Man eventually. I've not played it because I've moved away from that game because it just sucked.
Yeah, and it was nothing.
I didn't enjoy it
compared to the like Insomniac games, because then you've got Midnight Suns as well, which is a card game with, when it was first like shown off, these amazing cutscenes with all these Midnight Suns characters.
Literally,
you're like,
so
cool. It's a card game.
The Insomniac Spider-Man games, the first one is like my favourite game of all time. I've completed it 8 times. I've completed it 8 times. I've 100%ed it 6 times.
Oh my god!
And
I've done the first one once.
You played the second one?
The second one I finished. I 100%ed it in 3 days.
No, I did it in about a week.
Yeah, it was.
It's so good.
Spoilers, if anybody's not played it. I think Venom was done quite well, but I sort of wish that he wasn't.
Wasn't the end?
Yeah, it wasn't. I think that they should have just kept Venom. I don't know how they're going to plan to bring him back in, because there is talks to have a Venom.
There's talks about a Venom solo game, yeah.
But I'm not sure, because what actually happens at the end?
Well, I think they might go down the Carnage route if they're going to have a symbiote in the next one.
So I don't know how up to date you are with this, like, cause did you hear about the Insomniac hack that
Yes, I
went
did.
down?
Yeah.
And it leaked loads of Wolverine gameplay, loads of Spider-Man 2 cut content. So there was the Spider-Man 2 multiverse game that they were going to do. I'm not sure if you saw about it.
No, I heard about it.
It was a 5-player multiplayer in the Insomniac universe with different Spider-Men.
Really?
Coming through the multiverse. Yeah. And there was a trailer for it. So Yuri Lowenthal, the voice actor, had done all his voice lines, everything, and they scrapped it completely.
Really?
Yeah.
What, because of the hack, or because?
Because in Spider-Man 2 they had only just introduced the idea of the multiverse through the what was it, the
Well,
Spider-Bots.
the Spider-Bots, yeah.
And you can tell that it's set before Across.
Right, oh, I see.
Because he's like, oh, who's Miguel at
Yeah,
the end of it.
yeah.
So I think they sort of thought to themselves, oh, this is probably too soon. Which I do agree with, but then because it had gameplay, so it had in the trailer you had obviously Peter, Miles, Gwen, so Spider-Gwen, Scarlet Spider.
Silk was in it?
Silk was in it as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably going to happen. I mean, if Silk's in it, it's too soon because she just got introduced at the end of Spider-Man 2.
I was always thinking that. So I knew it was going to be. So, you know, Spider-Man 1's obviously Peter Parker. Spider-Man 2 ended up being Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Would it be a bit too much if? Because I always thought, okay, the third one's going to be Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But then obviously at the end it was Silk, and I was like, oh no, that's actually interesting.
That makes
I do like Silk.
I think Silk makes a lot more sense.
I think so.
Because the only way they could introduce Gwen is through the multiverse now. I think
that's very true. Yeah.
Because they've not set her up as a character at all, but they've set up Harry and MJ.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Gwen would be a part of that.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I think it might be too late for Gwen.
It just begs the question of is the third game going to be you switching between 3 different Spider-Men? Do you know what I mean?
It would make sense. I don't think, because they retired Spider-Man at the end of it, the main Spider-Man.
Oh no,
Peter.
of course they did. Yeah. So it might just be a Miles Morales.
I really hope it's not. I think if Peter keeps his anti-venom, that would be cool. If Miles keeps his the blue electricity,
yeah.
and then whatever moves Silk will have, it'll be very interesting. Unless they do like what they did with the Miles Morales game, where they then do a Silk separate game of the origin story.
You see, I wouldn't mind that.
So she can just then come into Spider-Man 3 as a character.
Well, I know a lot of people are not big fans of the Miles Morales game, which
it was too short, too expensive.
It was too short, but like, I don't think that's enough of a reason to discredit it.
I quite liked it, apart
I liked
from
it.
100%ing it. Was the only...
the missions are definitely not.
Yeah, nowhere near on the level, and I don't think the villain is anywhere near.
I feel like it probably should have just had the villain as one of Peter's villains that escaped the wrath.
I mean, they did have the Rhino, but it was a case of, oh yeah, here's this person. What was it? Roxxon.
Yeah.
And the what was it? It was the Tinkerer.
The Tinkerer, right? Yeah.
The name. I can't remember if she was the Tinkerer.
Yeah, it was. She's the Tinkerer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it. I'm excited for the third because Goblin.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, because he's been building up since the first one.
And then you've got Chameleon as well. Mm-hmm. Whether they do. So I was going back to the Insomniac leaks. I don't know how much you want to know.
Shoot.
3 DLC for Spider-Man 2.
Oh really?
First one, I believe, was going to be just a random an
original.
I'm not sure original, but someone who's shown up very few times in the comics.
Interesting.
Probably as like a 10-hour DLC. Will probably
give or take. Yeah.
Second one will be Carnage as a DLC rather than separate.
Okay, interesting.
Third one was then going to be a multiverse, which is going to. So that multiverse game that I told you about, I think they've just incorporated it into a DLC.
Okay.
So the leaks have said it's going to have you jump in between universes, take in their art styles and stuff.
That would be a really cool showcase for the PS5 as well, I think.
Yeah, and they need to do it because I don't feel like recently the PS5's shown off really
No, you're absolutely right.
And apparently it's coming to the end of its life cycle.
It is, yeah.
Which is really strange because I got one last year and I think it's like...
Yeah, no, it's still...
I didn't feel like I got it too far after its release.
No, 100%.
It's strange.
It is really weird that... Because I remember one of the first games that came out on the PlayStation 4 was Infamous Second Son.
Oh, what a game.
You played that game?
Yeah.
It's my second favourite game of all time.
It is incredible.
And the bit where you like turn the controller around and you shake it, the spring, like, come on man, that's so good. It's like, where is that?
Yeah, I find that with the PS5 it just hasn't really... Because you have games like Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart.
Which I still need to play.
Which is really good and has that sort of dimension hopping and shows how quickly it can.
Yeah.
It can do it. But I think in terms of Spider-Man, the only thing that really showed that it's a PS5 game was the the load time between fast travel.
The only other thing is when you break the sand crystals.
Oh yeah,
the
I completely forgot about that.
But like
the adaptive triggers, I'm not a fan of.
You don't like it?
I turn them off.
I was playing it with Lucas, our housemate, and he was like, something's getting cool on the controllers. I'm like, no, it's just the adaptive. The adaptive triggers, yeah.
Yeah, I think I am excited for the third. I think it'll be good.
It'll be
DLC.
It's going to be good. It's like
it's
the Wolverine one though. It's like in between.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
I saw some gameplay. I didn't realize it was leaked. I thought it was just like fake. Yeah. I thought it was fake.
It's legit.
Oh shit.
So.
Damn.
Obviously, it's still in development. Everyone's like, all the comments I've seen are like, "Oh, it looks quite janky. It looks not polished." And I'm like, "Well, it's not coming out for another year and a half."
Yeah, literally. Oh, God.
And at this rate, it's going to get pushed back even further.
It probably will be. Yeah.
So it is a shame. I think going back to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Favorite Spider-Man. Any of them. It could be live action, animated.
So I think whenever someone asks, who's your favorite Spider-Man, it's always the big three, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. Whenever a telling point for me is when you're reading a comic, who do you read the voice? Who do you read Spider-Man's voice in?
Yeah, that's true.
I read it in Yuri Lowenthal's voice.
Yeah.
If we're getting everything, films, acting, story, whatever, I would say Tom Holland's the best.
Yeah, I think the Far From Home was a bit of a drop because I thought Homecoming is probably in my top 10 MCU films, maybe higher.
Okay.
Because it's a fun film to watch.
Well, no one dies.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the. It's like the Ant-Man films. They're just nice to watch because there's no stakes to it. Well, there are stakes obviously, but it's not like.
It's very grounded.
Yeah, it's very, like, you can just put it on in the background sort of film, and you've got a Spider-Man film. It's nice.
Exactly.
That's my main issue with No Way Home, is it feels too grand. I think because what they've done with Tom Holland is his origin story has just spanned over 3 films. Yeah.
It begs the question: was there ever an Uncle Ben? Do you know what I mean?
It does. Yeah.
And it's obviously referenced in Far From Home, but it seemed like the Uncle Ben figure in the Tom Holland storyline was just Aunt May.
Yeah, it was.
And
they've sort of sorted them out.
In my opinion, because you go back and you read the original comic from 63, I'm going to say, the Steve Ditko, Stan Lee one. A lot of people forget that Uncle Ben didn't actually say "with great power comes great responsibility." It was just the text. It was just the comic book text.
Yeah.
And I think the Sam Raimi films made it seem like Uncle Ben said it, which is an interesting thing for sure. But it's like, as long as I feel like with Spider-Man, as long as you have an important figure that says those lines and dies,
and they said it, twice technically as well. You've had Aunt May,
twice,
and then both of the Spider-Men that have been through it.
Exactly.
Themselves,
so as long as you have that, you've got a pretty good Spider-Man origin story, which is why I absolutely loathe the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
Because he puts on the suit and he goes around being Spider-Man to find the guy who just looks like his uncle's killer, and he doesn't even really stop them in crimes. He's a villain essentially, and it's like, but the film treats it as this really heroic moment, and it's like, this isn't. He's just hunting down people, and it's like, this isn't what Spider-Man is. You don't mess with that part of the origin.
Yeah. Do you then prefer the second Amazing Spider-Man?
Yes, reluctantly so, because it just feels a bit more like a Spider-Man film.
Yeah, I think once you get past the bridge part of Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, where he saves the kid, realises, that's what I'm meant to do. Yeah. Then that's a better film.
Yeah,
but the second one from the start is...
Yeah, exactly.
It was a shame. I feel like if they just cut out one of those villain arcs, if they cut out the Rhino, I think that would have made it a bit better. And I think if they've done Electro right,
yeah,
and not blue and not dubstep-y, and And then obviously Goblin as well. We can't forget about.
Yeah, that was just dreadful, wasn't it? Because because especially like Goblin is such a pivotal character.
Yeah, I think he was done too quick.
It was way too quick.
Yeah, I think Harry needed to be in the first film.
Yeah,
to then show the connection between them. He was there, Peter's best friend. Oh, shit, he's Goblin.
Because it's half an hour into the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and they're like, oh yeah, Harry, and then we're just expected to believe that these people have been like, it's like, what?
But it's the fact that they introduce Harry with no mention of Norman at all. He's not even in it. He's in it for 5 minutes and he's dead.
He's not in the first one.
He's not in the first. They mention him because of Dr. Connors.
Right.
Does he work? He works at Oscorp, doesn't he? That's
yeah.
So I need to watch those films again.
Yeah, no, yeah, honestly.
He's definitely mentioned, but I think it's at a point where he's in the intensive care because he's got that illness.
Yeah. That's the thing with a lot of the, because you can take who's the best Spider-Man from the films. You're like, okay, who has the best films? And arguably, like Andrew Garfield, as good as a Spider-Man as he is,
he's got the worst films.
He's got the worst films, and then that's why he shines in No Way Home.
Yeah,
he is the best one. In terms
it's
of
such a shame
what Spider-Man is.
I think things would be so different if they managed to follow through with the original plans of bringing Andrew in Civil War. That was the initial thing, was that they were going to bring Andrew in across to the MCU sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Tom Holland's definitely. He's been in more.
Put it this way, I mean, like if Stan Lee is saying Tom Holland is what I picture when I draw Spider-Man, or not draw rather, but like, if it's what Stan Lee pictures, then that's good enough for me.
Just needs a good script now.
But
now he is Spider-Man. At the end of No Way Home, he is now Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Lives on his own, shitty apartment in New York. Nobody knows him.
Homemade suit and
homemade suit that looks amazing.
That's what I mean. It was like these 3 films leading up to this point were so satisfying. At least for me, I found it very satisfying.
Yeah, it definitely was.
But it's something that, like, it's always a tough subject talking about the Tobey Maguire ones, because I feel like I can't say anything without upsetting the general. The general fan base, because it's like,
he's personally my least favourite, but I didn't grow up with him.
I did grow up with him, but he is my least favourite, because it's just, I just don't see him as, I just can't, like, how he looks. I just don't see him as Spider-Man, and it's, I think, like,
in the first film it's better.
It's better for sure.
But when it gets to the second and third, I think if they marketed it as beyond high school Peter Parker or whatever he's in. The original Tobey Maguire is based off the 1963 Steve Ditko. Like, I think he's meant to be 16 there, and it's like it's almost there. I think I don't know. I just feel like it.
I feel
they picked the wrong time period. I think they needed to just go in straight to an older,
or just
Peter Parker,
or just have a younger cast.
Yeah,
Like the cast is great. Don't get me wrong. Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe was definitely the standout of that whole film. I think that first one.
It's just like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't like about the Tobey Maguire, and that's like, he when Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man, he's meant to gain confidence even as Peter Parker, and he just doesn't. Yeah. Throughout the 3 films, he's the same guy, and it's just like, this guy's a loser.
Yeah, now that you've mentioned it feels like there's no progression from Tobey Maguire.
He's the same character in every single film. Going back to Tom Holland. Yeah. In the beginning, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just trying to look out for the little guy," and then in the second one, he was like, "I need a big suit to look out for everyone." Yeah. And then in the third one, kind of brings it all together. You know what I mean? There's an actual character progression there.
And for him, like, obviously Tobey Maguire, he loses Uncle Ben. Yeah. And it was then retconned in the third one. I feel like they probably thought in that third one, they were like, he's not really done anything. Nothing's really happened to him since.
I completely forgot about the fact that he was killed by the Sandman.
Yeah.
And
just
it was
completely retconned.
I was like,
but I think that's the issue with I feel like after the second one, because what were the stakes in the second one? MJ falls in love with someone else? Or is that the third one?
Is that
the second one?
Yeah, because the second one, she runs away, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's in the wedding dress and she runs away. And I watched that as a kid and I was like, what's going on?
I think the second one's definitely the best.
100%
This is not going to be received well because everyone's going to be like, oh my god,
no.
I'm going to put some dirt in your eye.
And to wrap up on the 3 live action Spider-Man, we'll say that Tobey Maguire is the worst Peter Parker and the worst Spider-Man, in my opinion. And his films, he's got one good one out of the 3. Which is Spider-Man 2.
Andrew
Garfield is the best Spider-Man.
But not the best Peter Parker.
But people don't know that because he's got shit films. They're so bad.
Tom Holland
is the best in my opinion. He's got some of the loser aspects of Peter Parker that should have the smart aspects that the others aren't really shown, and also he feels like a progressive character. And his films are pretty good.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 in terms of his films. The first one's pretty good. The second one's a bit flat. Third one is pretty good. Can't knock it.
Can't wait for the fourth.
So Tom Holland's the best one.
That's our ranking. There we go. That's all this led up to.
I know. Ron, you know,
and then scrap all of that. Yuri Lowenthal.
Yeah,
number
Yuri
one.
The best one.
There we go. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you for watching episode 4 of the Outlaw Film Production Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.